My name is Linda Willette. I'm a psychic medium. And guess what? So are you. It's my belief that we all come from spirit, we'll all return to spirit. So why does it seem so improbable or implausible to many that we shouldn't all be able to communicate with spirit? That it's not just a gift that is bestowed upon psychic mediums. Everyone can communicate with spirit and have a meaningful communication. The key is to stay out of your head. Don't rationalize it. Don't dismiss it. Don't chalk it up to wishful thinking or your imagination. Don't think you're going crazy when mom, dad, or another loved one pops a thought into your head or suddenly pops in out of the blue. And that's what happens. And that's the difference between a psychic medium and everybody else is we're not afraid of being called crazy and we take things at face value. I'll use an example from my own life to demonstrate. My dad popped in one afternoon. I was cutting up leftovers for lunch. I had some pork chops, potatoes, and a little bit of gravy. And there was a blob of gravy on the blade of the paring knife. And I very gently put the blade of the knife in my mouth and took the gravy off. And right at that moment, my dad popped in and said, "You had me committed for doing that." Well, I busted gut laughing because I actually did. And the reason I had him committed to a nursing home. And the reason for that was because Dad had had a couple of strokes, and though he was physically fine, mentally he was out to lunch. He was doing things that were unsafe for himself and my kids and other people in the neighborhood. So I didn't really have a choice. But when he popped in that day and brought it up, he wasn't busting my chops. He wasn't tearing a strip off me. There was no accusation. There was no criticism or judgment or anything of that nature. He was simply sharing a memory with me of something that happened between us. And it gave me such a great laugh. I chuckled about it all afternoon. And my reaction to that was, oh my God, thank you for coming out. Thank you for this gift of laughter. I really needed this today. I could have chalked it up to imagination just because it was an interaction between myself and my dad in the course of our lives together. But why would I do that? Why would I do that? My question to you is, why in that particular moment, of all the moments I have, of all the days of my life, why would he pop in right at that particular moment? I wasn't thinking about him. He wasn't on my mind. He just showed up. And it was his gift to me of remembering. And that's what your spirit family do. They pop in. They check in to see how you're doing. They'll bring up a memory. On another occasion, my nanny popped in. I was wallpapering the front porch of an 80-year-old wartime bungalow that my husband and I owned at the time. And the wallpaper kept falling off the wall and rolling down onto my head. And all of a sudden, I could hear my grandmother laughing at me. And I could smell her. And she had a very distinct smell. It was a combination of liniment and Noxzema. And I heard her chuckling. And I actually phoned my mom that afternoon and I said, I had a visit from Nanny today. She popped in and reminded me about the wallpapering. And I used to hold the wallpaper for her because she was short and she would smooth it out. So her participating during my wallpapering experience was something that we would probably have shared in this life had she lived. It's just really interesting the moments that they choose to pop in the course of your day. And don't dismiss it. Don't rationalize it. Don't chalk it up to your imagination. Thank them for coming out. Thank them for the gift of laughter. If there is one thing I would give everybody in this lifetime, it's the gift of knowing and trusting and having faith that your family and your friends in the spirit world are not separate from you. They are still a part of you. They're still a part of your life. They still want to reach out and they still want to be included. And a lot of times when I do speaking engagements, people ask me if there's any messages, and I'll say no. If there's no message, they just want you to know they're still around. They're still here. They've just simply changed form. So when your spirit family pops in and something out of the blue pops into your head, thank them for it. Thank them for the gift that they've given you. Keep believing and they will keep showing up.